Hey, what's up, guys? So we're going to look at blunders today and specifically how to avoid them. There was a comment on the Chess Bootcamp Club on chess.com, which you're free to join, from Ignominious, who mentioned a very, very simple method for avoiding blunders. And this came from Grandmaster Igor Smirnov, who actually got it from one of his own students. Okay, so we're just sharing this method because it's super simple, and it does very much relate to what I've put in my checklist before, where we have why did my opponent make that move, and then the sanity check before you make your move. Okay, but the nice way that Grandmaster Smirnov describes it is this A-B method that his student found. So here's how it goes. A is after your opponent's move, you check for attacks. So A is after your opponent's move, attacks. And then B, before you make your move, check for blunders. Super simple. So let us apply that. And I'm going to share two quick games that I played this morning. I've just been, again, just dicking about with Blitz. 5-minute Blitz games. And let's apply that on each move. Okay, so obviously this is a Sicilian, there's no real attacks yet, but we'll kind of fast forward to the point. So this is the hyper accelerated dragon. So I don't know if black would normally bring out a knight first or make a central pawn move. I don't know with the normal Sicilian dragon, but this is the super quick one. So the idea is that he wants to fianchetto his bishop ASAP. So I'm responding with this, so this is a delayed Alapin set up on white side, with the idea that I'm getting ready to push d4, but it's now supported by a pawn here and this knight as well. So black goes ahead with his own idea and pushing that, and I fire in the middle. Quite happy with this setup. Takes, and now white has a very good center, black has a defensive setup and a kind of hyper-modern setup, but now strikes out for the center. So is there a threat? Well, what's he attacking? He's attacking that pawn. Is it defended? No, it isn't. So maybe we should defend it. Of course, one other option is to move out of harm's way, and I figure that it's good to put this bishop here, like Naroditsky says, biting on granite. With the bishop fianchettoed there, let's build a dark square pawn chain. It also has the advantage when you can grab e5 of taking away the natural f6 square from your opponent's knight. Plus it means that my knight is now defending both of these pawns, so that seems okay. Now black pushes again f6, and I don't like this. I do not like this at all, Precious. It just feels clunky and wrong, and A, it's the f-pawn, and B, he's still behind on development. Why go for the centre now? I think the whole idea with these hyper-modern attacks is, look, pawn structures change in a game of chess. They always change, right? So get your stuff out. Get your stuff out first, right? And then you do a pawn break. Get the king castled. Get the rook behind this pawn, and then push Freddy. This is just all wrong. My opponent's rated 1334 at Blitz. So he takes there. Is there a threat? Well, he's attacking this. Technically, he's attacking it twice because the bishop follows on behind, but it's defended twice as well, so I'm unconcerned. So what am I going to do? I'm a good boy, so I'm going to develop. So out comes the bishop, defender number 3. Now he brings out a knight, so he's got attacker number 3, but it's defended 3 times. What else is he attacking? He's attacking this. So A for attacking, B for blunders, right? Defended twice. Happy days. We're all right. Bishop to B5. I develop again. Now pinning the knight. Knight can't move. It's in an absolute pin on the king. My opponent makes another pawn move to put the question to the bishop. So I just drop back to A4, which is my usual, very common response. And I figure if he pushes B5, I'm happy because I'm going to push here. You know, stick the bishop back there, which is a good place for my bishop anyway. It's on a happy diagonal. It's looking at this pawn. So go ahead and make my day. And now my opponent makes a huge blunder. A huge blunder, right. So before you move, you need to be checking for landmines, right? So he moves his queen now, okay? Now this queen has got 3 squares where she can go. Actually, she's got 5. This one, not such a bad idea. I would then block that with my knight, blocking the check and defending the bishop, okay? So that's okay. Queen here is an option, attacking this pawn. Queen here is very, very bad indeed, because pawn takes. And queen there. What's the problem with this move? Well, it actually pins the knight, and it doesn't do anything to resolve this problem, because now you're just sticking your queen behind the aggressive bishop as well. But my opponent doesn't play any of those moves. Right? My opponent plays this. Now, before you drop your queen there, okay, you have to say, right, are there landmines? Is there a huge danger here of this move? Well, this is what black plays. Now, you might be thinking, well, there's a discovery by the bishop. If this pawn should move, either captures or pushes, then there's a discovery. But then black thinks, well, the bishop's not defended, so I'll just take the bishop. Haha, not so fast. And this guy's used 29 seconds so far, right, of a 5-minute game. Very, very common issues in Blitz. You know, people, it's weird that a lot of players, and I include myself in this, you're playing 5-minute Blitz and you manage to lose in 1 minute. It's so common that you simply think, oh, this is Blitz, I'm just meant to bang out my moves. And you end up screwing it up. But here, he's missed something. The point is this. Pawn takes here, right? I've used a massive 47 seconds so far, right? Now, yes, we're attacking the queen. But we're also, so I've just won a pawn, right? If queen takes here, I get his bishop. And what's more, where's his rook going to go? And can the queen defend the rook, you know? The queen would have to drop back to here, I think. So anyway, and now he uses 10 seconds. Wow, right? Grabs the pawn. I take the bishop. Now I think what he should have done here is go back to here, okay? And he just didn't check for blunders, right? That's the problem. What's my opponent attacking? And now I'm attacking this. He's not attacking anything. And now he brings out his bishop. Right, this was 15 seconds. He should have, well, yes, he should have dropped his queen back there. I'm pretty sure. Because now I get a queen. He moves his king, I take his knight, and he resigns. Having used 1 minute and 4 seconds with nearly 4 minutes left to go. Right? Just silly stuff. Silly stuff. Right, let's look at another one. Slightly longer game. E4, E5, and the bishop's opening. So I am playing, obviously, F5 at any opportunity, because I'm crazy. The Calabrese counter gambit. He takes. Good. Because what do we have now? Right, and this is similar with the Russo, when we have the knights out, okay? But you have D5 with tempo. D5, and the bishop then has to move. So bishop comes back. Now I've got to be... Am I worried about this? I don't know if I'm worried about this, but knight F6 anyway. So I guess he could drop the bishop there. And if takes, queen takes, then I'd probably have to move. Don't know. But that's what I played. Now, he sees that I'm attacking this pawn. And he makes a pawn move. Okay, so he spotted the attack. And I think he kind of, again, sorry, I say he. Is that Madam or R.N. Adam? Looks like Madam. I think it's R.N. Adam. Now, hanging on to your bonus pawn in a gambit situation is generally inadvisable. So here, opponent tries to hang on to the pawn. it's understandable why. You know, he's that's in a way his only compensation right now. This is how gambits work, right? I've got this nice centre. He's had to retreat his bish, and he's thinking, well, all I've got is an extra pawn, so I kind of want to hang on to it. Generally, not a great idea, but anyway. So now I see that because he's moved the g-pawn, look at this, right? There's a nice diagonal there. There's, again, like in the previous game, a vulnerable rook. And rooks are vulnerable at the start of the game because they can't move, right? Knights can jump around, right? Rooks are, you know, very, very much trappable. Okay, so my opponent sees this. I think he sees it, and plays d4. Now, what does d4 do? Well, it stops my d-pawn from moving. So now if I push e4 at some point, putting my bishop there isn't really going to help. So good anticipation. You know, what is my opponent attacking, or what is my opponent thinking of attacking? He's done it. So now I develop again. I'm planning on castling short. Very common idea. We do this in the Vienna Gambit. Once you've got rid of your f-pawn towards the centre, then, or Freddie's gone, then castling short gets your rook straight onto a semi-open file. Knight comes out now. Okay, so what's he attacking? Well, he's attacking this. Is it defended? Yes. However, then you add the second level of thought. Well, can my opponent stop my knight from defending that? Well, my concern is this. Bishop g5 would pin the knight against the queen, and then he can take this for free. So we don't want that to happen, do we? And this is, so the idea is that I'm just defending the pawn a second time. Now the bishop comes out, right? I castle short. What that does is takes away the pressure on the queen, right? So previously, if my queen were to move, actually this isn't too bad because it, you know, because I haven't castled yet, right? But now the rook is defending the knight anyway, okay? And opponent now brings a queen out. I push e4, attacking the queen. Queen retreats. And now I put my queen here onto c7. Okay. Am I attacking anything? Yes, I am. Two attackers on h2. Right? My opponent spots this. What's my opponent attacking? Good idea. Pushes the h-pawn, which makes a lot of sense. He's now storming up the board with 3 pawns against the side where my king is castled. Was it sensible to castle that side? But we shall see. And now, so I thought for 22 seconds about this move, but I didn't think enough. Now, anytime you move a pawn, you have to say, what am I undefending, right? Why did I put my pawn there in the first place? To defend this, okay? So, with moving it forward, what are we saying? Well, the pawn is defended only by the knight now. And what do we know about the knight? Well, it's under attack by the bishop. Okay, but I castled here so that I'm defending my knight with the rook. And can you see the problem? Why is this a blunder? Pause if you need to. And I walk straight into it. Bishop takes knight. Now, what I should do here is probably recapture with the g-pawn. I don't. I recapture with the rook, and boom. Oh dear, Hunty, you jellyhead. Fork on 2 major pieces. Rook and queen, ouch. Queen comes across here. He grabs the rook, bang. And now, I'm down in material. I'm down 4. I'm down in exchange and 2 pawns. However, my opponent's pawnage is a bit, let's say, raggedy. He needs to get himself castled as soon as possible, right? Now, notice something about this square. The king ain't going this way, right? But if the king goes here, what do we see? And, okay, he throws in a check. I move my king into the corner. Opponent only has a light squared bishop now. To my advantage, I still have the bishop pair. and now he castles, and now I spot. So what I decide at this point that I would love to do is to get my bishop here and pin the queen on the king. Great thing is there's no e-pawn, right, to block the bishop's progress. There's no dark squared bishop to block the bishop's progress. The knight here is on a dark square, so which means it can only move to light squares on its next turn. So there's nothing that can stop it. The only problem is that the queen will take the bishop. So what I need to do is add a defense to this square. Now, how can I do that? Well, there's a few ideas. I could, the best one, I can't put my queen here because either queen takes and messes up my pawns and exposes my king, or pawn pushes and ouch, right? Not good. The ideal thing would be to put the queen on this square on c7. Okay? So the first thing is a6. So I'm also thinking about maybe something like this, right? Fianchetto the bishop and a discovered double attack on the queen. My opponent pushes a3. Now I'm kicking his bishop out of the way. He spots it and retreats the bishop. Now we've imprisoned his bishop. Okay, and now I'm going to turn to my plan. White moves his queen here, which I'm pleased to see, because the queen's now a little bit more limited. I'm not quite sure what his idea is here. But now I start to re-maneuver my queen. Now, white at this point on the A, after your opponent moves, what is he attacking? Right? And this is not super obvious, but it looks as though, right? It looks as though queen's gone here attacking this pawn, right? And that I've now moved my queen to defend the pawn. But actually, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. And so, because what I'm doing is I want to put my queen here. Right, now he takes his eye off the ball. Okay, now he puts his knight here, so I'm thinking maybe he spotted it. Maybe he spotted the threat. And he's moved his knight to h3 in order to defend that square. Okay, so I play queen c7 anyway. Just take 2 seconds over that. Right, and now what's he thinking? Well, he moves his knight again. So I think he missed my plan. I think he's thinking only about his plan, which is one of the deadly sins, isn't it? Okay, so what's he thinking about? Is he thinking about something like this, right? He thinks, aha, super duper. You know, I get to do this with check. King has to move here. I capture the bishop with a oh no discovered check. So I don't know what my opponent's thinking here, because I play my bishop there, and again he resigns. Right. In this case, 2 minutes 14 left on the clock, so a bit better use of time. But just goes to show you know you can be up in material. This guy's +4 in material right now, you know, and just loses on the spot like that. So, you know, it's happened to all of us. We've both been on either side of this kind of situation. But there's a lot of lessons in this, right? First of all, you know, after your opponent moves, check for attacks and really have a look. Really have a look. There's so many games I've lost, or positions where I've just gone into a losing situation simply from omitting that little step from the checklist. My opponent's moved. Why did he do that? What's he attacking potentially? Okay, and my opponent here just missed the pattern. Right, it's just the pattern that your king and queen are in line, and so you need to just get into the habit of, okay, king and queen are in line. What colour complex are they on? They're on dark squares. Does my opponent have a dark squared bishop, and can it get in with a horrible, you know, pin? Yes. So stop it. Should have left his knight there. He'd have been fine. He'd have been winning, you know. So yeah, and then you know, before you move, like we saw in the previous game, let's go back to this one, right? Before you move here, you've got to sanity check a bit more, right? Takes, even if bishop takes, you lose a bishop, and then the rook's going to fall as well. So yeah, terrible stuff. But you know, you will save so many games by just making sure that that is ingrained in your thinking every time you move, before you think about your own ideas. Hey, what's the other player doing? Right? What's the attacking? Have I missed something? Blah, blah, blah. And then before you move, just check for landmines, right? Check for blunders, and you'll shoot up. Simple as that. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. See you later.